Man, I just watched that trailer and literally I was like almost about to start crying because I was like, God gave me this chick as my little sister. How in the world did I get so lucky? I am so amazed by everything that the Lord has done in and through you, Beijing. But I think that was just a remnants, especially as I watched the podcast cover come to life. And I had a small inkling of a piece of that, right? The radical revolution. And it just brought me such joy. Like, you're in another part of the world, you guys. She's reigning in from Bahamas today. And I say reigning because she is a queen. And you're going to learn all about what the Lord has done in her life today. But it's just amazing to know that even across waterways, there is a synergy and a connectivity as us as sisters. And I can't wait for that just to continue to expand over the course of the decades to come. Thanks for being here, Sin.
Thank you so much, Tamra. Yeah, I was watching that intro and I was just like, oh my gosh, the photos from Tamra, the podcast from Tamra. Oh my goodness. And that was a joy. Oh my goodness. That whole podcast retreat changed my life. And I'm so glad that I won it.
I'm so glad you were here. Yes. Well, and you are like, you guys don't understand. Like, this is the thing about being in rooms. And that was the coolest thing. Like, Beijing and her family came from the Bahamas to FounderCon last year. And what has happened in such a short period of time, just even in our friendship, not to mention your individual life, has just been, there's been a metamorphosis in a wild way. And a lot of it is because she was willing to go outside of her comfort zone. And that's God, right? So talk to us about, let's start there. Let's start from like, what has God been doing in this particular year? And then we're going to take it back because I think the historic elements of how all of this plays out is so important. What is being a world changer to Beijing? And what does that look like right now in your life?
Woo! What about, it's so crazy, right? So many people say, oh, Beijing, you're so crazy. And I always responded with that, crazy enough to change the world. And I started saying that at such a young age and I didn't know it then because the Lord only started to reveal to me like my childhood and wow, I got this mindset starting last year. So all these memories are flooding in as to, Beijing, why do you think you would change the world? Why do you call yourself a world changer? And so it blows. And then when I go out and I see others, they'd be like, oh, Beijing, the world changer. I'm like, wait, hold on. I'm not the only one calling myself that either. And so that kind of just blew my mind to say, like, your identity is so important, and the labels that you place on yourself. And I would say that started all the way when I was 4 years old. That's when I accepted Christ into my life as Lord and Savior. At 4, you're probably thinking like, gee, how did you even know what Jesus is and why he's important? Because I grew up in a Christian household. That's all I knew. And I knew that he was the way at that point. And so I just said the prayer and I asked him in. And then I also went on my first mission trip while I was as a 4-year-old to the Dominican. And so faith without works, James, you're correct. I started that at 4. And then at 8 is when you start going to Sunday school and you start listening to the Bible heroes of that day. But I like to call them the world changers of that day, because I remember like in my thoughts at that age, I would think of them like, whoa, like you did this for God and you brought these people to God and he used you in such a magnifying way. He made the impossible possible through your life because of your yes, And I was like, oh, that's what it means to be a Christian.